listing. I just hadn't had a chance to type it all up to give you out each section of the buyer presentation, but I will set out once I have it. I need to figure out an easy way for me to be able to access everybody from the group. Like, I need to figure out if I don't know if I should make a separate like Facebook group or if I should make some type of chat. What would be the easiest way for us to all be able to communicate and share things for the mastermind? Do you think a Facebook group would be easy?
Can you do a group inside the agent portal?
I can, but sometimes agents are coming from other places. So that
Yeah,
one,
I think maybe a Facebook group would be better because you can invite people from other states, different brokerages to join, and then they
uh,
could, and we can keep
Oh,
it,
gotcha.
keep people, on like YouTube, they tell to subscribe or just tell them to, you know, uh,
right.
just to pretty much
Because then
subscribe
people,
to getting alerts.
that's what I was thinking, because we could share a document there. I could share recordings to
Yeah, and
that or whatever. Um, So I'm probably going to make a Facebook group for it. And then that way everybody can, you know what I mean, share ideas or whatever else in there and do more networking and stuff. So it'd probably be easy for me to just do a Facebook group that way. The cloud, I have it all there too. But yeah, if people aren't Epic, then they're kind of left out with that too. So,
yeah. So I mean, I think Facebook groups would be better.
um, Brian, did you want to go first? You want to,
Yeah, so I can. I mean, if you mean, I can speed through this as fast as you want. I don't go this fast, but what
don't
I'm
rush
gonna,
because we share a lot of the same points. So, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Share, you know.
So what we're gonna be talking about, let me see. Fortunately, I don't see my screen yet, but uh, I'm trying to upload. Hey, Marique, is that how you pronounce it? Or
Merrick, Medic.
Merrick,
Hmm.
Medic.
Yeah.
Hey, I put a link within the comments just so that you can kind of review and save some of the things that we're talking about today. That's helped me so far as listing consultations. I know people call them appointments. At the end of the day, it's almost the same thing. But Drake said that I guess your coach probably they have almost it's almost identical. It's like they copy and paste each other's stuff. It seems like. But what we're going to be going over is a lot of what I do and what's helped me, and some stuff I don't do for good reasons. But let me see real quick. I'm gonna try to share my screen real quick. Can I share? Let me do this. Okay. Can y'all see this? Can y'all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. How do I move this? Okay. So a lot of before you even of course go to a listing consultation or a listing appointment with the seller, a lot of the legwork, and weight is on your shoulders is done prior to even meeting the seller, right? A lot of it is, asking, where's it at? There's a seller discovery sheet. So of course you're going to want to ask. Some sellers like they don't want to answer all these questions. They're going to just tell you, look, just show up to the house and we'll just look what you have, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of main points that you're going to want to ask is really the motivation, when they want the house sold, and really the price. They give you an idea of what you're working with. But a lot of these questions you're going to want to ask and know, because at the end of the day, it's like a doctor, evaluating a patient to see if they need to diagnose them and treat them for something. Same thing with this here is that this is your evaluation of the seller and your diagnosis, of them if you want to actually work with them or not. So this you don't have to sit here and call the seller and speak with them over the phone, but say, hey, look, hey John, real quick, just to be safe, I want to ask a few questions to really help me understand, your goals in the property and see how we could work together and see so far as, about your situation with the property, and then just kind of ask, these questions here and there, HOA stuff, I really don't. If there's an HOA, you could easily look that up through the MLS or on Google. You don't really need to ask them if covenants and restrictions because they probably forgotten about that already. Things like, what would you say the best features of your home are? Because if they go and list, a question like this is gonna really help you understand their personality. A question like this, what are the best features of your home? Drake being a more socialite person, he's probably gonna list every single thing that's like up to date in the house and everything that's great. Me, I would just probably list like the minimal. Like I don't really care so much about it. So this is going to really tell you so far as their personality type, uh, and then so far as the other questions. So, uh, but so far as going into the structure, the framework of an appointment with a seller, let me see real quick. Let me try to do this. So a lot of times going into the appointment, of course, you want to qualify the appointment. You want to, complete the seller discovery sheet, prepare the numbers. Like you're going to want to run comps before you even see the property. Like you don't go there to the property and say, look, hey, by the way, uh, I'll look at the numbers after I leave, go home and run numbers again. Like they're in their mind, they're going to think, okay, well, they don't really know the sales. They're going to then be suspicious and be cautious of like how many houses have you sold in the area in the subdivision. So you're going to want to run comps and know the numbers and study them as if it's a test before you meet the seller. All right, so know your numbers. And listing paperwork, we have if are we all with Epic here? Okay, so we all understand how easy it is to set up paperwork with through Dotloop. So you can easily set that up. Bring a laptop with you in case they want to sign right then and there. I'm not a fan of paperwork or like actual paper. So step one is really building the rapport, the walk up. When you actually knock on the door, like when I started the business, I used to have my like glasses on and my phone in my hand still and shake their hand. It's a little weird, but like take your glasses off, put your phone in your pocket, make sure that you look them in the eyes when they open the door, shake their hand. The walk up, of course, prepare to before you get you want to be prepared before you get out of your car. Or confidence, and the enthusiastic part, I find sellers don't really like that. Um, a lot of buyers like the enthusiasm and a lot of the energy. A lot of sellers are more like almost cut and dry. Like they want to know what they can get. It's really a numbers game to them. And you do meet, some sellers that are socialites that just want that genuine connection. Um, but so far as this, the first contact talking about just pretty much at this I think I don't want to go over all this detail because I'm gonna take all day. But at the end of the day, you want to build rapport with them. You as an agent should kind of already know what that means. Like find some similarity within the house. Like me being a plant person because I have plants all throughout my house. Like if I see plants, like oh, there's a cat palm or a sago palm or maybe like a cactus or something. Like oh, I have a cactus just like that in my house. Like you don't lie, of course, but like find some type of similarity. Like if you see that they have like black hardware on the cabinets, like oh great, I bought my cabinets in my kitchen have black hardware too. Where did you get yours? At Home Depot? Oh, obviously we all shop at Home Depot. So um, then going into is it echoing, Drake? I want to make sure this isn't echoing.
It's not
Not
echoing
echoing.
for me.
Okay, okay. Um, the review, the building rapport part is if you do this perfectly, everything else is going to fall into play, right? So far as reviewing the numbers, they're going to feel comfortable with you. Don't be the agent walking around with their hands in your pocket and your phone is ringing. Put it on do not disturb, right? Of course, like little details like that just causes disturbance within the actual consultation, the appointment of meeting with them. I always say when I walk in the door and say it's a husband and wife. It's usually the wife. I say, look, who's going to give me the grand tour, right? And it's normally the wife that turns first, and then she's the one leading, and the husband is just silent. He's the one observing. He's the one looking at me. He's the one looking at my shoes. What kind of shoes does he have? Is it John, Steve Madden, blah, blah. Like he's the one evaluating me. And I, make little cues here and there, like, look, it's great, et cetera, et cetera. And then, of course, the review part you want to be able to set the expectations for the seller, going over things that, the reality of what the house is, not what they imagine the house could sell for. Um, I find that you don't want to go through your whole presentation and everything first and then talk about numbers because at that point, you're overselling yourself. And then they're gonna, in their mind, they're thinking, okay, well, if they have all this marketing, if they have a 97-point marketing plan, et cetera, they could do virtual tours, 3D Matterport, video. Then I can ask for another 30,000 for my house. You don't want to do that, right? You want to talk numbers immediately when you sit down. Something I find, I don't really ask for a glass of water. I'm sure Drake, I think that's probably something it seems like every coach every real estate coach preaches is like when you sit down at the table with them, take control, ask for a glass of water, ask, and tell them, hey, the wife sit here, the husband sit there. Like you want to be able to take control of the situation and flip the dynamic where you're the one in control after you reviewed everything with the property. But I would say, when you're walking around the property, don't go and overemphasize every single thing being great. Like, look, if they have green Formica countertops, don't go and say, "Oh, well, I love the kitchen; it's great," and the cabinets are just completely outdated and it's ugly tile and you can see the dirt within the tile. And it's green Formica, and you're saying, "Oh yeah, we could, perfect. Everything was great. Love the kitchen, yada yada." Like you're really killing yourself. So just be silent in those areas and make go. Something I find is just drop a question like, "You ever thought about renovating your kitchen?" And now in their head they're like, "Oh man, I should have renovated my kitchen, a year or two after I bought the house." So you don't want to go and emphasize every single thing, especially when it's old carpet, there's stains, and be like, "Oh, no big deal. When we list the house, we'll negotiate that with the buyer when they see the property." And 80 showings later and 8 months later, no offer, right? Because everything just stinks and it smells like animal urine. So little details like that really mold a seller's thought of what they have and what they're selling. Because I still have a house like this that it's green Formica, and at the beginning the carpet was stained because they had animals. And this guy is a veteran. No offense to any veterans out there, but he wants a number. And look, I'm all willing to work with you. It's just we at the end of the day, it's there are two Merricks now. Oh gosh. Anyways, so um, at the end of the day, you don't want to go and emphasize every single detail because the seller's going to think that their house is worth more. Um, review all the numbers first. Review the numbers. Like, look, I don't know if y'all have this now over there in Lafayette, but have like a seller net sheet, an app. I have one here at Baton Rouge where it's through Baton Rouge Title, where you can go through the actual seller net sheet and say, look, here's this, say sales price hypothetically is 300,000, right? This is where you want to market your property at 300,000. Let's go ahead and calculate this just to get this out the way, right? Let's just say, this is just to get this out the way to to the sellers. Look, Mr. Seller, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, sales price 300,000, listing broker commission 3%. Uh, whatever the buyer's agent commission would be, what would that be if you did offer something to a buyer's agent? At this point, then you're going to really know, are they going to be extremely difficult? Because all the news is broken out so far as the whole buyer broker commission situation. So they're going to be, oh yeah, we'll offer 2.5 to 3%, whatever. Great, okay, calculate that in the app. What is the actual loan balance on the property? Oh, there's no loan, it's paid off. Okay, great. Calculate, say if it sells here in 90 days, say whatever, and say June or so, and then you'll actually have a breakdown with them, and you could show, look, hey, Mr. Seller, after the sales price as it is, sales price after commission, taxes, this is what you're looking at. However, you want to make sure that you disclose this. However, this can all change. If a buyer goes and offers 285 and they're asking $5,000 concessions to help their closing costs, and the buyer's agent is asking 3%, those numbers are going to adjust, of course. So, and then I'll go and ask, like, in the event, a buyer did offer 285 and asked for about 5,000 in closing costs, consistence. How would you feel about that? At this moment, this is another kind of qualifying question. Like you're trying to figure out, hey, is this person going to be, want to be, a stickler for his number and make things difficult, or do they really need to sell? Do they really want to sell? Because at that time, they're going to think, him and the wife are going to think, or him, whoever by themselves are going to think, okay, well, yeah, I mean, if I got 285 for it, and as long as I can walk away with a certain number, at the end of the day, that's what matters to me. Okay, so at the end of the day, the number you walk away with is more important than really the sales price. And they say yes, right? There's many different objections to handle that, different rebuttals to handle that. Like for instance, if a seller says, I don't want to sell it no less than 300,000. Okay, well, what's more important here? Is it the sales price or is the check that you're gonna be walking away with at the title company? Like the number you're gonna be walking away with. And they're gonna say, well, the number, of course. Okay, well, if we can make sense of that number, what would be a number that would make you happy? And if they go and tell you, oh, it has to be 300,000, it's like there's a whole there's they may not understand the whole process of how things go and how you want to sit down and really be detailed with them. Hey, look, if you sell at this number after commission, this is really going where you're going to be at. That's just the reality of the business. It's going to be the same thing if you go sell a yacht. If you go give your allow a car dealership to market your vehicle, there's going to be fees that come into that because you're having someone else broker the situation. So the review over a lot of things. I'm not going to go over every detail with this, but the results. This just goes over. You know, I have some clients that say, look, Brian, I want a weekly update every week or every month. However, look, I have an assistant that sends out weekly or monthly updates to my clients, however they like. I already have somebody that handles that for me. So far as, showings and feedbacks, there's automatically systems that go and request feedback and showings, kind of break down the whole process to them. So far as like, you're dealing with showing time or these other systems you're working with, like showing time already request, you can go in the settings and change showing time and say how many times you're going to request and how frequently to the actual agent and explain that to the seller. Hey, look, Mr. Seller, the system that all agents use, or a lot of agents use, is something called showing time. It's going to automatically request a showing, whether it's an hour, 30 minutes, or 2 days, however, to the agent, and that's going to be the system that constantly requests feedback. Now, don't go and expect feedback immediately after the showing because 9 out of 10 times it's not going to happen like that because buyers are seeing 10, 5 or 10 other houses that day or so. Uh, you're going to want to explain that, especially in this market, so far as how the showings are going. Um, Proof through statistics. Where's this one go? Uh, I think it's called list track. I don't know if it's really this or not. Yes, list track. So this is a system that I use very frequent, very, very, very often in my business. So it goes and I wish that they would make this easier to review. Uh, this is kind of what it looks like, but it's a bit vague. Um, it shows the amount of showings per listing every single time with each listing. So it shows like, with Zillow, all these other sites, and it's like maybe $9 a month, I think it is. Uh, this you can have it sent to the seller every month, every whatever day of the week, but every week emailed to the seller, and it shows them, hey, this is the showings we're getting on Zillow, all these other sites, uh, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I think that y'all should already have this through MLS, through the Roam. It shows all this other stuff, these details. This helps so far as going through the statistics and whatnot. So I'm not going to get to all this, but the reality of the numbers and understanding their motivation. Um, Drake, did you want to say anything before I can keep going? Because we're almost at 30 minutes.
No, you're good. Take your time.
So the framework, again, y'all, I really wish that I could talk about all this, but you're gonna have to go and do this and really read every single bit of it and help you understand. But so far as what's going to be beneficial now within the moment, so something that has helped me a lot. We've already talked about rapport, right? Just psychology here. We're talking about mirroring. You want to be able to mirroring is just matching whether it's their tone, the words they use, whether it's their body language. If you're standing up against, a dad and he's got his gut sticking out and his hands in his pocket, don't stick your gut out, but maybe put your hands in your pocket, right? Be relaxed with him, talk with him, etc. Anchoring is something that Like for instance, if you go and say, because I think statistics last year was like 420 units sold, Drake, with Epic. So go ahead and say something like, you know, me and my brokerage have sold for, 420 units alone last year. There's a reason why, right? We're talking about the power of why here at the moment. There's a reason why a lot of people choose to work with us. Once you're able, then I'm talking about embedded commands at this point. But once you go over and look over a marketing or pre-listing marketing plan, you'll be able to see why a lot of people choose to work with us, et cetera, right? Um, that's not exactly the verbatim of what I say because I'm throwing it out there. But using the word why you're anchoring, like, hey, look, there's a reason why a lot of people choose to work with us because, me and my brokerage was able to sell 420 units last year, set volume, and we're constantly growing day by day, et cetera, expanding every single state across the world. Embedded commands. Embedded commands is something where if you go and say, hey, look, once you look over the marketing plan, it'll make sense why a lot of people choose to work with us, right? Because everybody wants to make sense of everything. If not, then I'm not a psychiatrist, but you wanna make that embedded command where it's like, hey, look, when you list with me, you'll find that everything becomes easier then, right? So stuff like that, comments, statements like that, power statements like that help. They're embedded commands because you want to attach it to an action where it's like, hey, I understand your concern about the commission. However, when we do meet and you look at the actual marketing and you could see that I do have a menu of commission rate, at that point, we could make it like an a la carte where you could pick and choose, and I could devise which type of marketing we go with, and then we can together, come on a mutual agreement so far as what the commission is. Look, I'm not going to charge you 6%. However, in the event we do go over all this stuff, what would be a commission that is comfortable with you, right? And they're going to probably say, oh, well, I'd be okay with 5%, whatever, whatever. So kind of, future pacing, I don't really go into that. Pattern interrupts. I know Drake that with the paper that helps. But so far as anything else, any little detail that stops them in their track, is really pattern interrupts. I don't Listening appointments, Drake. I don't really have a pattern interrupt because I want to make sure that everything goes smoothly. Usually the pattern interrupts are what catches their attention, makes them slow down in the beginning stages of getting to know this person. Um, Going into that's just the NLP part of communicating with people. Anchoring, like I said, the anchoring part is like telling them, hey, we've sold 420 units last year. This at volume in their mind, and they think that the market's bad, nobody's selling houses, et cetera, et cetera. But this company's selling 420 units last year. They could sell my one property. That's what they're thinking. So, and then of course when you go and talk about the other stuff as far as the power wide and whatnot. So, um, talking about there's something else I want to go over. Let's just do this real quick. So, zoom out real quick. Golly, I need to update this again because this is when I was with EXP. This needs to be removed, but this is through Azine, my listing presentation that I share because you can share this, you can email it, you don't put on your social media, but because you want this to be exclusively only for your eyes and your client's eyes, you can download it, email it, or a link where you text it. Again, I need to update this. This is not current. Mr. Seller, there's steps to, going over, or Mr. Seller, there's steps of getting your house prepared to present it to the market. And then at this point, this is where, after you go over the numbers with the seller and understand really where they're comfortable with on price, you want to go and say, look, Mr. Seller, this is where we present the product, being your house, to the marketplace. Would it make sense why Apple is the way Apple is? And I always ask, like, why do you think Apple is one of the biggest Apple, cell phone users out there, like that, like as far as the iPhone? It's because they know how to market their product. They know how to communicate their product to the marketplace. Same thing with your property. We need to communicate your property to the marketplace. And it's not as just easy as selling it as is, because a lot of times, seller, what I find is that, when sellers go and put their house on the market as is, do nothing to it, they're the ones that just constantly keep dropping price, dropping price, dropping price, and they sell at a lower price point than they wanted to sell at. So step one, getting it ready, right? Step two, we need to set the price, a realistic price. And Mr. Seller, look, I understand if you want, say, 330 for the house, comps are coming in around 315, 310. In the event that we don't get an offer within, say, 2, 3 months, would it be safe to adjust that price more closer to where, the market is saying the house is worth? And in their mind, again, another qualifying question. Uh, another qualifying question is like, look, if God, I just got interrupted by an Epic agent. Hold on for a second. So another qualifying question would be like, look, if we don't get this price, your price of 330, would it be safe to say to adjust that price to closer to where I with the marketplace? I hate to use the word I, but where the marketplace is saying the comps are coming in at, and you're gonna see then and there like, hey, this seller is gonna set the price to 330. If it sells there, if it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Then they're not a seller that is serious. But if they go and say, look, yeah, that's okay with me. Well, we can adjust the price, after say 30 days, we could have you could do it as, after every 30 days, adjust it every 5,000 or 10,000, however much you all agree to, or after 30 days, adjust it to exactly where I say, or where the marketplace is saying that the comps are coming at, where the sales prices are at, because list to sell are completely different. A lot of houses now are adjusting their price point to sell. So setting the price is very important, because even if we do price it where you want, which look, I would do the same thing. I think my house is worth $550,000, even though it's not. I try to sell it there, but it's not going to sell there. And in the event that this is the case and we don't get an offer, or we don't get any showings whatsoever within 30 days, would you want to adjust that price so far as, closer to where the marketplace is saying? And if they say yes, great. What would be a good structure of price adjustments for you? Would it be 5,000 every 30 days, or after 30 days, do you want to adjust it to the price point where the marketplace is saying it's worth? Oh, we can adjust it, 5,000 every 30 days until we get a contract, right? Bring those options to the table, so that they know, hey, you're not just guaranteeing, say, hey, I could sell your house for the most amount of money for the least amount of time, like in 1980s when agents would say this. So don't go and say that. So just go and say, hey, look, if it doesn't sell, or we don't get an offer within 30 days, what would be safe to say to adjust the price? Okay, 5,000. Okay, cool. Let's put that in the listing contract. So you are then authorized to go and adjust the price. Like, because you don't want to go and list the price at 330, and then that's how the contract states it, and you're now having another conversation with the seller, and like, hey, we need another price adjustment. You've already had this conversation with them. You're well prepared. Um, Specialized marketing, right? Step four, showing. Step five, review offers. Step six, closing. This is probably the most too important here, is getting it ready and setting the price. The marketing, all this other stuff is easy to figure out. Cinematic video, Mr. Seller, I find that cinematic videos are really overkill. If you want a cinematic video, we could do a video. I find that a lot of times videos are great with big, extravagant luxury homes. However, if you want one, we could do one. Just know that the commission is going to be higher for the listing broker. Uh, this goes into floor plans. Mr. Seller, a lot, there's usually three reasons why buyers come and see the property. They love the pictures. They know the area already. They want to see how the floor plan is actually laid out. This is maybe a few bucks on Box Brownie. Like, if you look up Box Brownie, like, you can get floor plans for like $32 or $24. Like, it's extremely cheap. I'll put this in the it's yeah it's it's just Box Brownie. I'm not gonna do the link or anything, but uh a sketch like this is usually what you'll see, Mr. Seller, on an appraisal. It doesn't really tell you much of where the walls are at, or really what the dimensions are, or what the floors look like. Something like this helps a buyer understand, okay, well, this is where the kitchen's at, bedroom, bathroom, because usually it's the wife that cares more about the floor plan than the husband. The husband only cares about, how much it's going to cost them and what needs to be fixed, right? And how soon can we move in? Uh, Let me go back here. something like this or is Mr. Seller is more for like condos. You know, this is if you don't have a condo, I don't really advise this because these are patios or balconies, and it just shows off the side of the property. 3D virtual tour, you know, I would go and ask the seller, hey, Mr. Seller, you know, have you ever looked at actual properties through a 3D virtual tour? We click through the house. And if they say yes, they already know what you're talking about. If they say no, go on Zillow, literally go on Zillow right there in front of them and go and say, hey, you know, you can go through the settings. Easy, you know, easiest like it's literally as easy as this. Uh, get all that. Get away. It's literally easy as this. So let's go say New Orleans. Right, move this. Move boundaries. Go into the settings. It's easy as, you know, 3 tours. Must have 3 tours. And then we're gonna go to this one just because it's right in there. And through every 3D tour, you can actually go and actually view the property from your computer or your smartphone, where you could be a buyer from out of the state. Like for instance, a lot of people that are moving out of state are from people from Washington, by the way, because of political reasons. But uh, you know, because buyers from out of state from over there, they could see houses like this and be more comfortable with actually making an offer. Would that make sense of how that could help market your property? During the whole time of the listing, you want to at least ask, you know, 2 or 3 times, hey, can you see how this floor plan is going to help market your property better versus your competitor across the street that just has pictures? Absolutely, I could see that it helps. It helps. It's going to help with showing you know, the property, the floor plan, everything else. 3D virtual tour. Does that make sense to you? How that's going to help get more viewings on your house? Right, virtual staging. Unless the house is vacant, I know Drake. I physical staging's better. If you don't really have the budget as the agent, these are a few bucks to do. I mean, if the seller wants to do them, great. Physical staging is always better. I don't know if, you know, some agents cover physical staging, some sellers do it themselves. This is always a plus. It helps sell the house faster, especially physical staging. Then you want to go over, hey, this is a while back when I had this website. You want to go over and say, look, you know, I spend, you know, unlike other average agents that just put the house in the market and put a sign in the yard, I spend the money as far as marketing your house. It's like if you go on Google and look up, you know, lawnmowers, you're then going to start getting advertisement through Google and Facebook about lawnmowers for sale. It's the same system where it just retargets the buyers that are looking for houses that are for sale in New Orleans, Lafayette, whatever city, just so that you get more exposure. Aerial shots, if it's a small new construction house that has a very small lot under a, you know, quarter of an acre, I really don't really see doing this. But if it's a property with more land, aerial shots are like a few bucks. It's like maybe you can get somebody to do an aerial shot for maybe 50 bucks or 100 bucks. It's not that expensive. If you do open houses, I suggest you know, have an Alexa, have some type of system that's playing music. You don't want it just sitting there quiet. Um, it's something I've done once, not every time though. Some of the stuff I need to update though. Mr. Seller, yeah, I tell him, look, you know, I could go over all this today, but it's going to take me 2 or 3 hours. However, the stuff we spoke about earlier is going to be the main points of helping your house sell. These are every single step that we take so far as marketing, getting your property, you know, ready and marketing your property. This is a checklist to get your house prepared, like step one, getting the house ready. Getting the house ready so far as, you know, the light switches, switch covers, fireplace, carpets, walls, baseboards. Like make sure everything's clean and ready. If there needs to be paint, we need to get quotes from contractors. It's about getting the property ready. Preparing for the home, you know, photography, you know, very easy. And then of course the logo, because you do need the logo on your marketing, by the way. Um, so that's that. Drake, I could keep going, but we have like 20 minutes left. Unless I will say this real quick. Always present to the seller like it's a certified pre-owned program. Look, you know, Mr. Seller, there's a reason why certified pre-owned vehicles sell more than just as is vehicles. I see that of course certified pre-owned vehicles sell more than just 2,000 bucks, but It's usually like 10,000. Uh, what you want to advise, like, say, look, Mr. Seller, we want to get one, a home inspection on the house. It's maybe 400 bucks, maybe, 400 bucks. We want to get an appraisal because if we go and ask 330 for this property and come find out it appraises for 310, however, or 330, we want to be able to justify our asking price all these agents and all these buyers because we all know that especially in this market now, it's more of a buyer's market. You want to, solidify the asking price or just justify the asking price that you're asking for because if you ask 300,000 and it's appraised for 280, it's going to be very difficult to sell. Just know that. But the home inspection is going to help so far as tell the buyers and communicate to the marketplace, hey, this house has been inspected, sellers fixed these items haven't been fixed. We've gotten quotes for these items. The cost was going to be fixed, so the buyer's more comfortable with making an offer. And plus, the buyer doesn't have to come out of pocket 400 bucks to do an inspection. They will have to, if they're doing financing, pay for the appraisal though, I'm sure. But you want to present these things because some agents don't even talk about this. The inspection, home warranty, appraisal, pest inspection, maybe like 90 bucks, 100 bucks, whatever. This helps communicate the product again, Mr. Seller, to the marketplace. So that's there's a lot of other stuff I can go into, but uh, I did include other stuff so far as within my actual listing presentation. I know it's 97 points that I had, but you can this is gives you an idea of what you can and can't, can and do so far as adding to um, your marketing. I hate using the word guarantee, by the way, but that's that. So I don't know if you want to go ahead and take this away, Drake, but or add to it, or because I can keep going, but I starting to get a little hot talking.
No, you're good. Um, Sweet. Well, um, my presentation is very similar in a lot of ways. I don't have the full time to go through it, but it is in that script book that I did share with you guys. Y'all have seen that script book that I shared. Did y'all look over that listing presentation that it has within there? Had y'all seen that? I'd seen it as a flip book. I'm gonna I can go through the steps real quickly of it. Just y'all guys have it for reference, but I'm gonna go through the steps more or less than the visual stuff. I'm gonna talk about like the actual steps and the things that are important to say and the things that always will demand respect and show leadership. I think the problem with a lot of people when it comes to a listing is understanding you have to take control of the conversation very quickly to be respected as a listing agent. Because the problem is most agents are very passive and they'll come across as a assistant to the person. And that's the last thing that we want to happen is that a home seller thinks that we are their assistant. Yes, we are a service provider and we're going to get them anything that they need and like help them. But we, at the end of the day, we have to walk in and set the tone of like, hey, you're hiring me as your professional. Here's what we're going to do X, Y, and Z. Because imagine going and sit down with a lawyer and you're going to sit there and tell them exactly how the court case is going to go and the things you're going to go through. Like, no, right? We're going to show them that we're the professional and we're going to set the tone right from the get-go by taking control of the conversation. But showing respect to that property is a big thing, and building rapport is your first things that you always want to do, right? So, we get to the house, I ask to take my shoes off. I have them walk me through the property, and I'll usually ask them, I'm going to set my stuff down. Is there somewhere that I can put it? The kitchen's this way, that sort of thing, and like go and set it down. And then I'll usually grab a tablet or a notebook to take notes to show that I'm interested because the things I want to write down are things that are very important that I'm going to learn about them. Anything that I start asking questions, because I'm basically going to start to get to know them a little bit more, but I'm really looking for that why, right? Why do they want to sell? That why is going to be the most important thing that I'm going to learn on that listing appointment, because that's what I'm always going to go back to try to close them. So we have to start with why, and I'm asking them those types of questions while we're going through, like, where's the plan? Y'all might know some of this stuff from prior conversations, but you're filling in the gaps. So anything that I'm saying now, you should add that in at that point if you haven't already had that discussion over the phone with them. But, what has you guys thinking about selling? Or, where y'all planning to go to once the home sells? In a perfect world, what would that date be? What do y'all imagine your new home looking like? What are the great things about, you know what I mean, this neighborhood versus what y'all want in a new one? I'm digging in. Is it the school districts? Is it that we want to be closer to work? Is there a family member we're going to be taking care of? Do we have a child with special needs? Is there things our family are outgrowing? Is somebody pregnant? Is somebody divorcing? Is somebody getting married? There are all these monumental changes. And so I want to find out what their why is. And when I find their why, that's the thing I want to write down and I want to do a big circle around it, right? This is the why. This is their motivation for selling because that's what I'm going to use as my fuel throughout the listing appointment. And I'm going to circle back to that why because my goal is to get them to sign on the spot and not want to interview other agents. And so without being pressured, I'm going to ask for the business at the end of the full conversation. So have them walk you through the property, have them tell you, because sometimes they'll be like, oh, go walk yourself. You know what I mean? You know where everything is, just check it out or whatever. I never do that. I always say, you know what? No, I really prefer you to walk me through the property because you know everything about it. If I see something, that seems odd or I might want an explanation, I prefer you to kind of tell me everything. Because some people are like, I did this upgrade, I did this or that, so I'm like, please tell me everything about the property as we walking through. So I insist on doing that because I want them to talk to me and walk through the property. It's not a, check the box, I'll walk the property type thing. Like I want them to come with me and show me everything about the house and let them kind of, talk about why they love it and all these things. So get all that information, write it all down. Once we're all done, then you're going to take it over to the table and you're going to sit down with them. Okay. And then this talks about setting the agenda. But before we get to that, the first thing I do when I sit down, I say, thank you so much for showing your property. While I was walking through the house, I was looking at it from a buyer's perspective, right? Because I tell them, selling a home is very emotional, but now we're going to take the emotional hat off as much as we can. And we're going to look at this as a transactional thing, right? This has become a business. Now you are a business person because we have a tangible item that we need to market to the public and we have to get them to want to agree with our price and everything that we offer, right? So now we got to look at it as objectively as possible. And so that's what I did when I walked through your property is I'm thinking, what are the things that a buyer are going to think? They're going to think positives and they're going to think negatives. And the way that that works is the positives means they will agree with your price. The negatives mean I want to take this much off, this much off, this much off. They're devaluing your house. So my goal is to say, well, can we get in front of these to raise that value back up to here? Right? To where they don't have a lot of arguments with us. But there's some things we can't change, such as floor plan, layout, walls, right? Those are things that we probably cannot fix. So those things we're going to have to learn how to market or strategically make not a negative, but a positive, right? So finding different views, like the fact that okay, maybe there's a school that's right behind and kids are really, really noisy. Well, rather than focusing on the fact that there's a school right behind, like the convenience of your children can walk to school every day. You can see them from your backyard. We're taking a negative in some people's minds and turning it into a positive, right? So that's the goal from a marketing perspective. And so that's why we want to walk through that property and get every detail we can, because that's going to strategically set us up for how we're going to market that property and show them, right? So we're talking about I tell them, okay, so we went through the property. I looked at it from a buyer's perspective, and now I'm going to go over some of my findings with you and some things that I think people are going to find intriguing. Okay, before we even get to the data and anything like that. But I tell them, this is the first thing I want to ask you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, do I have permission to be 100% honest with you? Right? Why do y'all think that is such a pivotal question to ask right from the get-go?
What was the question again?
Mr. and Mrs. Seller, do I have permission to be 100% honest with you in today's meeting?
Yeah, it's just you're getting permission so they don't get offended. Like you're there to tell them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear.
Exactly. And I'm setting up that mentality right from the get-go that you might hear some things today that you won't like. But here's the thing. I'm already having them reason on the fact of, I'm not here to offend you. I'm here to tell you the truth so we can get your home sold. I just told them you need to separate your emotions from this because this is a tangible item that we're trying to sell to people who are not going to be emotional mostly about it, right? They may have a feeling when they walk in the home that they love it, that they want it, but it's not the same feeling that you have or the attachment that you have to this home. They're going to look at it and say, well, they offer X, Y, and Z at this price. The neighbor offers X, Y, and Z. This is a better price. I'm going that way. right? A lot of times that's how it works with the mini buyers. And so that's why, again, I'm trying to separate that emotional portion as much as possible and get their mind frame in the idea, hey, we're going to explore some very honest things today, and you might hear some things you don't like. But you just gave me permission that I can be honest with you, right? And I say, look, my goal is not here to offend you. I just want to know that I am allowed to be 100% honest with you because I said, here's my goal is I'm going to tell you guys everything that you need to hear, and I'm going to be truthful and honest with you because at the end of the day, my goal is to get you the results that you want. And I said, at the end of this transaction, when we're sitting at the closing table, I said, would you prefer us to be best friends because I was so nice and blew smoke up you? I said, or would you prefer that I got the job done and I was honest with you? Right. And they're going to be like, no, I got the job done and honest with you. Great. And I said, and if we turn out to be friends at the end, that's even better. That's a plus. But at the end of the day, I'm working with you. Fair? Fair. Awesome. Right. See, so right there, I'm already setting all of this tone of like, this is how things work. This is how things are going to go. Here's my confidence in what that I do. Right. We're setting everything up from the get-go that I'm your advisor, right? That I understand this process from start to finish and I'm passionate about what I do. And that's what we want them to see it's all in the details. Because I can tell you right now, all the way up to that point of the listing appointment, how many agents do you know do all those things that I just did? Have you ever even heard those things before? Right? So if you are doing those little bitty things right from the get-go, you're already setting yourself apart from any other agent. And I can tell you for a fact, I know a lot of agents don't do that. They go right in, they pull out the comps, they start talking about it, they walk through the house, they may mention something about some paint colors or things like that, right? We're getting into the mind of the seller, right? They have their guard up and I'm trying to get their guard down. I want them to feel safe with me. The second they feel confidence from you, 1,000%, you are in a better position as a listing agent because listing agents are about confidence. A great listing agent is all about confidence. I wish more people understood that. When you are confident, you will get listings, you will win them, and sellers will love you. But you have to be willing to say the things that people aren't willing to, right? You are an advisor to them, and you've got to be willing to tell them the truth. So from the beginning, we're setting the agenda, right? So we're talking about, hey, this is the way things are going to go today, Mr. Seller, right? So there's 3 things we're going to go through. We're going to talk about the sold for the highest price. We're going to talk about how we can attract buyers that want to pay more for your house. We want you to get net the most amount of money as possible. The reason why I want to talk about the net is because I want to already get ahead of that commission or the compensation headbutting that we can have, right? And so it makes the conversation easier if I start talking about, yes, I want to get you the most amount of money sold, but your net that you get at the end of the day, what you get in your pocket, bottom line, is the most important. After we go through this action plan, we can discuss whether or not it makes sense for us to work together to get your home sold. Does that sound fair? Why do I ask them, does that sound fair? What kind of answer am I going to get from them?
They're going to say, yeah, that's fair.
Yes. I want to get yeses. I want to start building those yeses. Because let me ask you, if I get 10 to 15 yeses, then when I go, are you ready to sign the listing paperwork? Are you ready to move forward with signing the paperwork? What are they going to be very easily able to say? Yes, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Psychology. The more yeses you get, the more agreement you get, the easier it is for them to just go, yes, 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 yes. And then the last one comes, well, yeah, of course. Let's just go. Let's roll forward. We feel comfortable. We're confident you can get the job done, right? When you ask for the business. So the goal is to ask questions that get you yeses right from the get-go because we're getting ahead of their mentality. Right. So to clarify something from the start, most agents will try to tell you what you want to hear, see, and I want to be 100% open and honest with you. Would that be okay? So the way I said it is fine. The way you can choose to go by the script. But the same thing is I want to ask for that honesty right up front. Okay, perfect. Because I brought a list of homes that failed to sell. And let me tell you, it's because the agent was scared to tell the seller the truth. And I'm only interested in helping you guys get the home sold. Right? We know the reason why overpriced listings don't sell is because the agent's not working hard enough either on the front end to help them understand that they're going to have to drop the price eventually to get it sold, right? Understanding that days on market, it's going to save you a lot of headache as an agent if you prepare people for the fact that we will make price adjustments according to the market and what's happening. Our goal is not to just get a sign in the front yard for recognition, but rather we want to work because our same goal is to get your home sold and get you moved. Wouldn't you agree? Yes, right. Look, there's my second yes. Next. Okay, perfect. That's my goal. At this time and at the end of the process, we're sitting at the closing table. I want you to feel 100% confident and possibly introduce me to people in the future that would need to buy or sell. That's how I measure whether or not you had a positive experience with me. Does that sound fair? Well, yeah, of course. You know what I mean? We would love to recommend you if you were awesome, right? That's the whole point, where it's not awkward to ask for referrals because they love you so much. So here, before we get started, I want to make sure we're on the same page. Can you share with me why you're wanting to move or sell? Now, this question is only if you did not ask this while you were walking around. So the good news is if you're nervous or if they're talking a lot about the house and you don't have time to ask these questions, no problem. You can ask this while you're sitting down. So that's why this is inserted in here. It makes sense. Ideally, when would you like to have this done by? See, I'm looking for their time. When you want to be in your new home by? Okay, got it. I understand. Is an option just to stay put? Why would I want to ask them, is the option just to stay put? Is it an option to stay put and not sell at all?
I don't know. What does that mean, Drake? I don't know what that means to stay and put.
Yeah, so not move. Basically, let's say the house
Oh,
is on the market for 3 months and,
okay, okay.
and they just say, well, we'll just keep it. Why would I want to know that?
Well, I guess I would think that you need to know that because that would affect. I mean, that would, are they really in 100%? I mean, are they very serious to sell, or if they just kind of, well, we might sell, or if we
Boom.
don't sell, we might stay. Kind of. I mean, that I don't know what if that's the answer, but
Yep,
that's what
that's
comes to
it.
mind.
That's exactly it.
Yeah,
So
it's not gonna waste your
we want
time.
to we want to find out if they have a backup plan of just keeping the house. Because guess what? It's going to be real hard to get price adjustments, right? I'm already helping myself understand what kind of person I'm working with. Because if they say when I'm sitting down and they're like, Drake, we want 600,000 and all the comps are 500,000, and they're like, and if it doesn't sell for that price within 90 days, we're keeping it. You know what I say to myself? Have a good day, Mr. Seller. I'm not going to waste my marketing dollars and waste my time with someone who is not reasonable. You are now, look, if you're a newer agent and you're starving for business, 1,000% give it a shot, put it on the MLS and hope and pray that somebody comes and sends you a decent offer and that they agree at that time, right? Again, you can't believe everything that they say, right? Because sometimes they'll just tell us certain things. But I'm going to make that discovery as I continue to go through the conversation. Because if they do say, well, yeah, we would just keep it or we just rent it out or something like that, well, I know that I have a challenge that I have to get this home sold for a certain price that they're going to want because they do have the option of keeping the house, right? So I know in the back of my mind, I'm taking note of this, that this is going to be a challenge, right? And that I know I'm going to have to sell this house at the end of the day at a price that makes sense for them. So the goal is going to be through the discovery to find out if that's even doable because I don't want to waste my time again or my marketing dollars. I see. So with all of the moving pieces and selling right now, make a big move. What would you say is your biggest concern, right? Listen, 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 listen. Listening is so important. The more that you can listen and hear what they're saying, our biggest concern is we've listed with an agent before we got no communication. Boom. Right there, I know I cannot just put that house on the market and not communicate with them on a regular basis about what's going on and what's happening. I got to reach out to them weekly and keep them updated. Or they may say our biggest concern is showings. We got 5 kids and 10 dogs in the house, right? Every single time we leave. Okay, let's come up with a game plan. Is there something easy that we can do to rectify that, right? We want to address all of their concerns so it's easier to say yes again, right? Like write down all of their major concerns that they may have of whatever it might be. Or our concern is being able to sell and buy at the same time. Well, perfect. These are our options for doing that, right? I'm going to get in front of all of those objections ahead of time to be able to help them, right? Paraphrase what they say and then move on to the next step. So we always going to repeat back because it shows that we're listening. So if they say, our biggest thing is just communication. Okay, so what I'm hearing is you guys need regular communication from me about what's going on in the process. Is that correct? Yes. Great. Right? I'm listening. We're already at 11, so I'll put a pause here. We'll do a part three, the CMA presentation. Um, so we'll go into the pricing strategy and we'll talk about that, and we can pick up through for the rest of this because it's a few pages long. It's not easy, and it's not just the words, but I'll go through like some of the things. You can kind of see how I make it my own. At the core, everything, the steps are here, but I want you guys to see how you can make this your own if you just understand the steps and everything to go through. And then once it needs to become port. That's the things that most people don't understand is these scripts are just a formula. It has to become part of your soul. You have to embed it into who you are, that you say all of these things. And it becomes so much easier when you go on listing appointments because you don't even have to think about this stuff. Like I automatically know the foreshadowing and like everything that I'm going to talk about, the solds, the actives, like I have that formula all in my head of everything that I go through with them. And then at the end, I ask for the business, right? So it's like you go through it and you learn the steps, learn the formula, make it your own, and then you go and you execute on a regular basis. And you're going to find that this script, I promise you, rarely ever will nobody sign on the spot if you execute it good. So, okay.
Perfect.
But yeah, let's pick up next week. So we'll just to be continued listing presentation.
And
We'll,
can I just quickly ask one thing? And Brian, you mentioned earlier that you put some notes, it's like some information on the notes. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I don't see anything on the notes. Or what
So
notes were you referring
the
to?
go if you click on chat,
Okay, let's see. Okay,
that you see the link.
no.
Well, I'll reshare it then. But probably because he didn't join until after
oh,
Oh,
after.
maybe
okay. Oh, maybe that's why. Okay.
I'll go ahead
But
and share
anyway,
it now.
oh, got it, got it. Thank you so much.
I
Thank
just
you.
copied and pasted it.
Okay,
Yeah.
great, perfect. Okay,
Thank you so much.
okay,
And if y'all get a chance before next week, go back through that script book, right? And get the main points of it. If you haven't looked through that listing presentation script book, read through it. And then let's go through it in a high level next week where we're going to talk about some things that y'all can make it really great for yourself too. And then right now, I want you to work on the script and the formula. Then once you have that, you can work on the visuals, right? Because we don't want to work on our presentation and all that stuff. It's not, that's meaningless if I don't have the script built in, if I don't understand the points of everything that I'm going to go through first. Because my slides can't have word for word. I can't read it to the seller, right? There's a lot to say.
yeah,
So the goal is that I just have slides that may give me those little reminders of what we're going to be going through and talking about. But the goal is that I understand the script and it's a part of me.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Be so good you don't need the actual presentation, but
Yep.
use the presentation as a tool.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, for years, I just used the script and I just brought paperwork with me. A lot of times I didn't even have visuals. Visuals was the added thing, you know? So don't even feel like you need the visuals. You can literally just bring some CMA stuff with you and your contracts, and you could go through the same script and do the same, give them the same impression.
Yep.
Really. So don't even get married to the visuals in that aspect either. Okay. All right, cool. Thanks for y'all coming. And I guess, Brian, you want to stop the recording? Yo, you're gonna have to send it to me. It's probably gonna save on your computer,
Let
huh?
me see.